Yesterday I went on one of those YouTube chain binges, as I like to call them, where you just see one thing and then it just like spirals out of control by the time you know it. It's crazy how much interesting stuff there is. It really is nuts. A few that stood out to me, two in particular. One, there was a dude who was pranking two individual people. Basically, I'll try and leave a link in the description box so you can see it. The first one is basically some dude prank called a Chinese restaurant, and a little old lady answered and basically ordered something and tricked her into waiting for someone else who was going to place an order. And so on the other line, he called Blockbuster and told them that his mom had a question about a movie she wanted to order. And so he connected the two lines and basically made the two conversations coincide. And I'm not really doing it justice, explaining it this way, but if you guys take the time to watch, I absolutely lost it. I must have died 3 or 4 times just laughing at this shit. It was so funny. It was so clever. It was really simple. I'm pretty sure he didn't think about it too much, but it was really well thought out. And it's so basic to the point where he's just like, he made the guy, pulling the prank himself, maybe just said 2 or 3 words at most, and then left the rest to unfold on its own. And that was the big payoff. And that's really cool. I mean, just that process alone of taking one thing that might mesh or coincide really well with another, whether it's a prank or whether it's some sort of art or creation, I guess creation is an art, so. But I mean, you know what I mean? It's creating those opportunities for things to meet up and coincide. I think it's really neat. In my life, I definitely I try to definitely like to connect everything that goes on in my life. All the disciplines I learned through martial arts and all the parallels of using body language to connect. I definitely use that in my performances whenever I'm playing music. It's incredible how well you can, take traits and apply them to other forms of art. I would imagine there's not a lot of people who share the same activities as you. And when you take certain elements of the arts and intertwine them for it to work for you, that's a really good way to stand out in it. I can definitely make the parallel of, to be musically gifted, you definitely have to have some people call it gift, other people call it a concept of music. You have to have a concept of rhythm. And when you take a music theory approach to the rhythm that you have to build up in order to do certain combat sequences, it really does create for a solid and a very fluent body movement, and it's crazy. It really does work out well. And vice versa, there are certain skill traits that could be applied into music, because those of you who have been there know that performing music to a live audience, if you're doing it well, it can almost literally turn into a physical workout. And when you're keeping up to stay locked in audio-wise to be synced with everyone else with the music, and then towards the end of a show when you're pretty beat up from being so invested into the music, you start to sag a little bit, and it's all right because you invest yourself. But there's so many things that you can do to work on stamina or even just I like to think to myself a lot of times the same way in which I attack forward in a combat situation or in a competition situation with MMA or whatever, the same way I like to attack an instrument or a piece of music, you know, it's almost the same mindset, you know. I'm not gonna let this thing, there's so much room for error and there's so much room for failure, but I'm not gonna let that take control of me. I refuse to accept failure. I'm going to attack this thing. I'm gonna dominate it before it dominates me. You know, that's how it works. That's a little bit of food for thought. And then going back to the thing last night. So there was the video of the prank call, and then one in particular, and this one kind of angered me and it made me feel proud at the same time. I started going on this whole slew of watching prank videos, and some of my favorites are when pranks go wrong, because some of those prankers really do have one coming to them, and they really do deserve it when finally someone fucking either pops them or fucking shows them that enough is enough. I mean, it's funny, don't get me wrong, I enjoy watching it as much as anybody else, but I do feel bad for the victims. So this one guy had one of those where when you press the button, it makes like the realistic fart sound, sounding like it's coming out of your ass. And so he was walking around Walmart, and he goes and stands in front of an old lady in one of those electric scooters. And basically, he stood in front of her and almost indirectly pointed his ass in her direction. Basically, like, had his ass right in front of her face and, you know, pretended to fart with the little device. And so he did it once, and the little old lady just kind of turned around and looked at her husband, who was in another little scooter, immobilizer, whatever the fuck those things are called. And so he wasn't happy with it, but they just kind of brushed it off and went on about their way. And the prankster did it a second time, and, you know, the old man kind of had enough of it. So he got up and chased the guy and looked around for the guy and confronted him, said, "Hey, that's my wife you're doing that to." And basically the old man wasn't having it. And as much as the prankster said, no, it's a joke, it's this device, yada, yada, yada. So the old man wasn't buying it. He wasn't gonna tolerate any sort of disrespect to his wife. So he took a couple swings and popped the guy in the face quite a couple times. And yes, it's a joke, but realistically, like, at least in my culture, we are taught to have utmost respect for our elders, and B, have, you know, nothing but love and respect and honor for our family. If nothing else, you can disrespect my friends, you can disrespect my dog, yada, 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 all the things that, you know, these are pretty valuable things. You know, some people would argue that you can't cross those lines either, but, you know, the family is the one big thing, you know. When, in more than one occasion, when there's conflicts and confrontations going down, things never usually get too serious until, like, someone starts talking about the family. And even more so, somebody's wife. I knew that if someone disrespected my wife, I wouldn't sit for that shit either. I would not tolerate not even an ounce of it. God help me if somebody, like, did that shit to my wife. Yes, pranks are fun, but you gotta expect that someone's gonna react badly. And here's the thing that pissed me off. So the dude that was pranking called the cops on the old guy for physical assault. Buddy, go to hell, man. You deserve to fucking... I wish that the old guy had the strength to fucking put your lights out. But, you know, he's old. What are you gonna do? I honestly hope that his kids or his grandkids see that video and come hunt you down at your door, man. Like, who does that shit? You don't disrespect somebody's wife. Yeah, you're trying to be funny. Why don't you go use that little fart prank in the library? Make that shit funny. Don't stand in front of some little old lady who can't fend for herself. Don't do that to the elders. You can't do that shit. What's the matter with you? Would you like me to fucking take my naked ass and fucking rub it into your fucking mother's face or your grandma's face and fucking rip one out and fucking make her swallow that shit? Fuck you. No, you wouldn't. You can't even begin to make the argument that you would. Why would you do that? It almost angered me a little bit. It felt like he was doing that to my wife. Fuck that shit. I would not have fucking let that guy take 2 steps if that was the case. So good on the old man. I wish I fucking had the old guy's number so I can send him an email and congratulating him for what he did. And hopefully the cops didn't give him a hard time about it. You know, kudos to him. I mean, we all have our different opinions on that, but it's just the way I was brought up in my culture and, you know, in my way of thinking. It was well done. It really was well handled by the elder man there, regardless of what some of you may think. I think all in all, we choose what our values are. And I think our truest, most heart-centered values are the things we choose to live and die for. I truly believe that. Unless you are really willing to put all your life and all your energy and all your emotion into something, then how much do you truly value it? So family in itself, more specifically one's lady or one's courtship or one's significant other, should be given all the value, should be given all your time, your attention, your respect, your thought, your devotion. You know, why wouldn't you? It's your other half. Why wouldn't you respect someone who's supposed to represent an entire half of you? You should defend that. You should defend whatever slight hint of disrespect that someone is showing that. Why wouldn't you have respect for that, you know? If nothing else, even if you don't have respect for yourself, you should respect your significant other. Why wouldn't you? Especially one as a man. And why would you go out of your way to disrespect somebody else's? You wouldn't like somebody disrespecting yours. I know you wouldn't. Hell, I wouldn't. I know for a full-fledged fact that I live and would die in a heartbeat for the well-being of my family. Just so my wife could be all right, just so my child would be all right. It's unlimited. My centered love, my centered energy for my wife and kid. There's no limit to what I would do for them. There's things that I do for me, but all in all, you know, it revolves around the idea that, you know, if I'm doing something for my sanity, is because I want to be the best for them, because I want to give them the best, you know. I want to be the best for them. I want to be the best thing for them. If I'm doing something for my future, it's because I feel like that future is what's going to give them the best life. I want my future to be encompassed in the idea that it's what's going to benefit them, because I value them, because I value their well-being more than I value mine. See, people's concept of love is really just obsession, and I hate that so much. People write about love all the time and they have no idea what love is. Love is value. Love is, you know, it's not an emotion. It's not an obsession. It's not something that, you know, it's not the thought of someone that is hard to get over. It's what you do for them each and every day. It's what you get up and do. It's an act. It's not a feeling. It's a doing. It's not an emotion. It's value. How much do I value you? How much am I willing to go out of my way to make sure that you're okay? How much of me am I willing to put off to the side? Or how much of my life am I willing to live for you? What limits do I have for you to be okay, for you to be comfortable, for you to live well? If there's no doubt in your mind that you love them, then the answer to the question should be, there is no limit. There is none. It's measureless, the amount that you would be willing to do for this person, because that's what that is. That's real value right there, you know? The pricelessness of what you would be willing to invest, what you would be willing to spend, what you would be willing to put out for your values, you know what I mean? Some people value their jobs, their careers, so they invest all their single time and devotion into that. Some value their religion or their lifestyle, etc., etc. That's what, you know, that's what this whole thing is. And if we're gonna tie it into the old man that got pranked, then by all means, there's a clear cut, regardless of if the dude was kidding or not. Then, you know, yeah, fuck, I would. I don't give a shit if someone was just pranking me. The slightest sign of freaking disrespect just for a couple laughs, that guy does deserve to fucking get punched out. Fuck that shit. I would have freaking spin kicked him right in the fucking kneecap so he can get fucking hyper extended and freaking really teach him a lesson. To hell with that shit. I want to see someone come and try to do that shit to me. I want to see someone come and try and do that shit to my wife. You know, why would you disrespect somebody like that? So all in all, you know, it's good to have your values well set. And guys, on a bit of a side note, just, you know, you're gonna try and be clever and prank people, you know, be courteous about it, be smart and respectful about it. You know, there's, you know, don't go out of your way to treat people how you wouldn't like people. Forget about yourself. How would you like somebody to treat your loved ones, you know, people you value? Like, I know for me, like, for somebody to disrespect my friends is already one thing, you know, because I have some pretty close friends, and I would like to think I'm a pretty loyalty-based human being, and that's just the way I was brought up. How much more would I not be for my family, for my wife, my significant other? I can't even begin to tell you how choked I would be, and how, and let me just forewarn you guys here, how endangered you would be, you know, how endangered somebody would be if I found out they were doing that kind of stuff. It's just not right. Morally, you shouldn't feel great about yourself for doing that stuff, and, you know, I wouldn't recommend it, because sooner or later someone's gonna get choked, and you're not gonna like the end result of what the end of that scenario is, and there's no need for that. You know, the cops were called in the middle of a Walmart. There's, you know, this guy made himself look like a douche. I don't know what he was thinking that the audience was gonna respond, but it didn't look great. And it just, let's be kind, let's be courteous to one another. Let's, you know, if we're gonna have fun with each other, let's be smart about it, you know. Let's be morally right here. I guess that's my shit for the day. Values and respect, people. There it is.